Hello, I'm Steve Akley, owner of the ABV Network, the media company dedicated to all things bourbon, home of such podcasts as The Bourbon Daily, comes out every day, and The Bourbon Show comes out 6 times a month that has a little bit more serious look at the world of bourbon, including interviews and topical shows. So check out both of those anywhere you find podcasts, or you can find them on our website, abvnetwork.com. Of course, I'm here at the ABV Barrel Shop. This is a place that focuses on single barrels. It's one of a kind. We do a lot of tastings and events and things like that here. And of course, all of our barrel picks are available to try before you buy. So it's worth coming here. We are in the St. Louis suburb of Arnold, Missouri. Very easy to find us. We're right off Highway 55, which is one of the major interstate highways here. Just a quick jaunt to downtown, the Arch, Cardinals games, the Blues, all that kind of good stuff is pretty close. We're about 15 minutes from all of that good stuff. So come by and check us out and see what we have going on. Of course, while you're doing all of that kind of stuff, thinking about your next trip to St. Louis, also, if you wouldn't mind, subscribe to this channel. Check it out on the screen there, the reminders that you need. Like this channel. If you could do that, to sound the bell notification. Well, I don't know what that is, but people say that that make these sort of videos. And then you also should comment. Apparently that also helps as well, so we'd appreciate that. So this topic actually came up on the Bourbon Daily. We're doing a podcast on Little Book. And of course, that is my favorite yearly release, the whiskey that comes out every year. And I've got other ones too, but I can't get them. So Book bubbles up to be, my all-time favorite. And it's one that I've gotten every year since it came out. And the people that I was recording with were like, how did you come out with this? Where's this love for Little Book comes? Well, some of it stems from the fact that I've been able to get it. So that certainly plays into it, for sure. For sure. But I was also involved with that one from the very beginning. So in 2017, I heard that Freddie Noe was going to be coming out with his first project, the first thing that he worked on while working for Jim Beam. And of course, we had heard that he had started working at the distillery and those type of things. And I've always been a lifelong Beam fan, something I continue to be to this day. I started drinking bourbon on drinking Jim Beam. And, in college, I was a big time Beam drinker. I liked my Beam and Cokes. And that would lead to me, after college, looking at starting to drink whiskey neat after moving on from the bourbon and Cokes and that type of thing. And then I would just start trying different ones. I always had bourbon, not necessarily into it like I am today, but that all started in 2000 when I went to the Bourbon Trail and I got to see the distilleries, meet some of the people, and man, that passion really started then. So that's why I think that the Bourbon Trail is such an important part of American whiskey. The fact that you can go there, see production, see process, again, meet the people, and Kentucky's just such a great place anyway. And there's so many bars and restaurants and so many things dedicated to bourbon. You can really get wrapped up into it for sure. So 2017, I'm a big time bourbon fan at that point. I'm already podcasting and stuff like that. The Bourbon Daily and the Bourbon Show had launched in 2016. I also have this newsletter called Bourbon Zeppelin. You can sign up for that too over at abvnetwork.com. I'm doing all that kind of stuff. I'm doing these bourbon things already. And I hear that, Freddie Noe, who like I said, Generation Next, it's an exciting thing. If you're a Beam fan, the fact that we have the next generation lined out, and not only that he's getting ready to release his first product, there's some buzz about that for sure. So we hear about this, and they're going to kick off a tour where he goes around the country and talks about it. I'm talking about Freddie Noe here. And Freddie Noe announces this tour, and the first stop, number one stop on the tour, St. Louis. So I'm in. That's where I live. I live in St. Louis. I go to the event that day and sit in the front row and meet Freddie and get to taste Little Book for the first time. I got to buy Little Book for the first time. I got my bottle signed. The group that I was with said, nobody's going to believe you that you've got all 8 of these, and the first one signed and all that. So here's a quick video. We'll turn it over to that, where you can actually see my collection of all 8, my vertical of unopened Little Book boxes. Here it is. All right, this is Colonel Steve. I'm in my basement in an area where I store some of my bourbon collection. And this is Little Book Chapter 1. This is before they started putting years on it, so Series 1 doesn't have a year, but you can see the rest actually have a year. So then you got 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and then this year's 2024. So pull back on that. You can see all of them there on the table in my basement. I wasn't wrong, right? So yeah, I'm just a fan of Little Book, and so I got that first one signed. It was a great event. It was Freddie's first ever, like, on behalf of the distillery, speaking engagement. I mean, he might have been on the stage for some stuff at Beam, maybe even doing some things locally in Kentucky and stuff like that. But to go out on the road to represent your brand, this was the first of a kind, first that he'd done that. So I also wanted to share a little bit of video from that day. I didn't take a lot, and this is the perspective of the front row. So here's Freddie literally standing it's about as far away as I am from this camera. Like, I could touch the camera right here. I could have done that with Freddie. I wouldn't do that, but potentially could. That's how close he was. So here's the perspective, and from that, and just him talking a little bit about growing up in in a Beam family. So here it is.
Grandson, or Fred's son, or Jim Beam's great-great-grandson. And really, I was just a typical kid. I like to ride my bike with my buddies, play basketball, football, things like that. Never really got any pressure to come into the business from my grandfather or my dad. I got the chance to, when I was growing up, to go to the distillery a lot. I went fishing with my grandfather at one of his favorite spots on the distillery, pretty good fishing hole. So, the distillery was always like a second home to me. Never really thought about doing anything else. I did actually. When I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer. Then I figured out how long you had to go to school, and I was like, I don't know.
So that was really cool. So I get my first couple of bottles of Little Book. I got 2 that day, and got them both signed, which is very cool. And then, just started collecting them. I would get, my goal was for every year to get at least 2. That way I could keep one in the unopened collection. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do with these. Eventually, I'm going to drink them. I don't know. I keep saying, is it at the 10-year mark? Or is it something big, like a big life event, like my retirement or my daughter gets married or something like that? It could possibly be that. I don't know. It's certainly going to be a special thing. Maybe I save them to get to a certain number, 10, 20, 25, 15, I don't know. And then I have like a big tasting with all my friends and like, let's run through all these and let's pick out which one's the best, that type of thing. I don't know. It's kind of like when you buy a lottery ticket, right? You have that hope. There's that excitement. You're probably not going to win, but you still think about, if I did win, what am I going to do with that money? I'm going to take vacations. I'm going to buy a second house. I'm going to definitely have a house here and a house there. This is the car I'm going to get. So having those unopened Little Books is the same type of thing for me. You may be saying it's meant to be drank and pop it open and you're doing a disservice by keeping those closed up. I understand that. And I am a bourbon drinker. I'm not a bourbon saver. I'm not the bourbon seller, any of that kind of, well, I mean, at the store I am. But that's different. I'm talking about personal stuff, secondary market type of stuff. So I don't do any of those sort of things, and I do intend to drink that stuff. I mean, what would happen, Steve? Well, you don't control when your life ends. What would happen if you died and you never got to drink all of those? Well, by the way, I've drank all of them at this point anyway, because I got second bottles and stuff like that. But that being said, even if you said that, let my friends crack them at a celebration of life type of thing. So it's still, I'm covered either way. My bet's covered on this one. So I think that it's good. It's good to collect something like that. If you have the means to tie up your money in that way, I think that's okay. I'm not a hoarder. I'm not putting pictures of these out online all the time. And look at what I just came across today and put it in my car with the crotch shot, that type of thing. No, it's something that I have. Most of my collection is either open or plans to open it. Again, at one point I had 1,600 bottles. There's going to be a few that aren't open when you have that many, and you don't need 1,600 open at the same time. So it's less than that now, by the way. I'm working on that. It's a process. You have to drink through those, and you're not going to drink through 1,600 in a very short amount of time, particularly when you continue to add on to that. But so I've got these Little Books. I've got the vertical. It is very stressful for me when it comes out because I know I have to get it every year. I had one close year where when we opened up the store, of course, they won't sell us any of that stuff. The distributor won't sell us any Little Books. We can't get any of that. We don't buy all the other stuff, and that's allocated. It's considered a treat that they dole out to special children who deserve it, and we don't get anything like that. So we never got any Little Book from the distributor. And I'm tied up when this stuff comes out. It comes out on Facebook. Hey, go to this liquor store. Well, I'm at the store. I can't leave. So there was one year where I got one, and that was it. And I did get to try other stuff and things like that. I had a bunch of friends get it, so I've tasted it. I kept my book, my little book, closed. I didn't open that one. But yeah, so each year it's a little bit stressful. This year, I thought I was really in trouble because it came out, and for the most part, the stores that I know that sell it, I wasn't able to get to them in time, and it was not looking good. And then my wife, feeling sorry for me, when I was, because I've been working, I'm at the store all these hours and stuff like that. She went out looking on a Saturday, and the same thing's going on in Kentucky. My buddy New Guy is in Kentucky, and New Guy sends me a note and says, "Hey," quick text and says, "Hey, do you want a little book? I'm at the distillery and they have them." I was like, "Yeah." And then he talked to somebody and they said if he took a tour, after the tour he could buy a second one. So he texted me and said they got two. I'm like, "Are you sure you don't want one? Because if you don't want one, I'll take two. I'll take both of them." And he's like, "Nope, I'm good. I don't need one." So I scored two, and then I texted the wife because I knew she was going to be out looking for some little book, and I said, "You don't have to worry about it. He's got it." She's like, "Damn it, I got one in my hand right now." I'm like, buy it. Yes, 3 is good. 3 is the number that I'm looking for. So I ended up getting 3 this year, which is one of my better years on Little Book. A lot of times, that's the most I've ever got. I got 3, probably 2 other years. So that's been my high water mark. I've gotten 3 bottles. Again, what it means is I can drink 2 of them now. So that's good. I like the whiskey. And I'm always amazed at the diversity of it. That's what's so cool about the series. It's another reason why I like it, is the fact that it's different every year. And I understand that there's people who be like, well, some years are better than others. Yeah, that's what happens when you're doing, experiments and you're releasing different things. And you know what? You're swinging for the fences each year. He's not like, I'm just going to do something that's so-so. It'll appeal to the masses. And that. No, Freddie No, when he comes out with these, he's going for a grand slam. Bottom of the 9th grand slam is what he needs. And that's what he's going for. And you know what? He's hit most of them out of the park. He's hit those grand slams. And the ones that he hasn't hit out of the park, have been, great. I mean, have still been top whiskeys, probably whiskey of the year consideration for every one of them. I've literally liked every one of these. But if you have to rank them, sure, you could force rank them and come up with what the list is. I don't know what that is. That'll be part of the fun of opening them up all together when I can do this vertical side by side. So again, in my mind, long term, that's an opportunity to do something like that where you can really go through it and evaluate year by year. It's tough for me to evaluate year by year when I don't have them with me. There's some people who are like, well, they take a drink and they're like, oh yeah, 2019 was better than that one, and then 2017 also topped it, and then 2022 was just right behind. I can't do that. I don't have a memory bank of flavor where I can just do something like that. I need to be drinking them side by side. So that's a reason why I get them and hang on to them in their pristine state where I can pop the corks and they're on a level playing field. Because if I was drinking them, I'd be like, well, I'll save the bottom 1/8 of each of them. Well, that's air introduction, and they're going to age differently, and they're going to be also different years, aging differently. So I don't know. So that's why I do what I do. There's a bunch of different reasons there that all come together, and the fact that I've been able to get it. I've also talked to a couple people this year that said, hey, it's available all over Louisville as it drops. It's also at the distillery. Of course, had New Guy there verifying that. And I'm going to reduce the stress. For now on, when I hear that Little Book's coming out, Louisville's 4 hours away from me. I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to drive there. I'm going to get my Little Book, and I'm going to drive back because I'll have more aggravation sitting around and worrying if I'm going to get it or not versus driving there, hanging out in Louisville for a day, and then coming home. So I've got a plan moving forward. Hopefully it'll allow me to continue to get Little Book, continue to build on this great series. Freddie No's doing some incredible things. I think you should get them, so definitely check it out. Make sure that I get mine first, and then you can get yours, that type of thing. But yeah, it's really great whiskey, and Freddie's having some really fun with it. He has access to everything in the Beam Suntory portfolio, so you never know what's going to be in there. Good stuff. One of the great American whiskeys out there. Congratulations to Freddie No for putting that together, and congratulations on 2024 for a really great whiskey, predominantly rye, and it is incredible. So there you go. See you guys.